Hi everybody, it's me Maria with Nailnation3000 and Nailnation on Facebook. If you haven't joined us, welcome. What we're doing today is a tutorial on an easier way to do water marbling. I've noticed that a lot of people have a little difficulty either getting the hang of it or the cleanup is their biggest issue. It seems like the marbling itself isn't so bad. The cleanup is a nightmare. A lot of people are really struggling with that. And sometimes the marbling comes out perfect and the cleanup ruins it. So I just wanted to give you a couple of ways that I have been doing it that just is a lot easier for me, and hopefully it will be helpful for you. My base color is called Rumple's Wiggin'. It's by OPI and it's a pastel purple. In the light it kind of looks white, but on my nails you can see that it's purple. We're going to be using Solar Nail cuticle oil. You can use any thicker, more oily based cuticle oil. Some of them are a little looser, a little bit runnier. If you notice that it soaks into your skin right away, that one probably isn't the best one to use. If you don't have cuticle oil, you'll also need a ton of toothpicks. Oh, look, one's going for a swim already. You'll need a ton of toothpicks. Don't try to reuse your toothpick for every design. Some people try to use it a couple of times or through the whole process. This causes a lot of problems too. It clumps up, the polish gets all stuck on there, and if you try to use the other side because a toothpick is so small, you're gonna get it all over your other hand, and then that cleanup is a whole nightmare. So I recommend that you just kind of get a stack of them. They're pretty cheap, usually only like $1 for 200 or more. And also my little eraser, you're going to see this a lot in the videos. If you see me in a video that it is a still video tutorial, when I'm talking about the little eraser, this is what I'm talking about. It's actually just Q-tips dipped in remover, and you roll out the excess and you just use it to clean up all your edges and any mistakes you might make. It also works to remove stamping when you've messed up stamps. I'm going to take these out of here now so they're not too wet when we get to using them. And also, those of you who want to try the taping method, this is the tape that's recommended. You can get this at grocery stores, hardware stores, Walmart, Walgreens. It's usually only a couple of dollars for usually like 3 to 5 rolls. You don't get 2 purples that look the same. So you want to get something like this, or a shimmer and an opaque, or a pastel. You want to kind of mix those up. And speaking of glitter, don't use heavily glittered polish. They tend to just sink or you end up with really strange clumps. And also another little tip, because I just noticed I didn't do that, with this kind of polish, the regular polish especially, not just lacquer but polish, you want to shake this stuff up. But with this bottle you kind of have to shake it up because rolling doesn't work. But what you want to do if it's a round bottle is actually roll like this. Because what happens is you're not creating little air bubbles in your polish, especially with like a lacquer, for example. And this you're going to do with your cuticle oil is you're going to take your cuticle oil and you're going to apply it all the way around the cuticle area and behind the nail. And then the next step you're going to do is take a lot of it, not just a little bit, but quite a bit. And remember, ladies, this isn't going to hurt. It's going to soak into your skin. All you're really doing is help moisturize those fingers. If you're playing in polish remover and acetone and things like that all day long, or frequently, you're drying out your skin anyway. So this is another way to kind of soften back up. And you can see it's real shiny. You want to be on the outside rings. And you're going to work kind of quickly, and you want to kind of shake it. Don't let the drops get directly in the water with the brush, because if you do, you're probably going to cause it to stick, the water to stick to your brush, and you're going to be putting that back in your bottle. And this is where I'm adding a little bit of that silver and a little more purple. And I want a little more white in there. And I do recommend that you try to go a few rings, which would be at least 2 droplets. Oh, see? And when you do touch it in the water, you want to wipe that off before you put it in there. So now what you want to do is you want to go inside your color and you want to pull it. And you want to pull it different directions. And the reason it's helpful too to get a few rings in there is because if it starts to separate too much and you don't like the look, you have another chance before you, you know, have to just start over with it. And then you want to find a spot you like, something that you really kind of like the way it looks on the paper. And this is what I was talking about with the toothpick, that it, you know, kind of gets gobby and you don't really want to use that again. So you see a space that you like. You want to go in kind of straightforward on top of the area that you like. Try not to put your whole finger in there. I noticed that a lot of people just kind of submerge their entire finger in the water, and this is kind of causing you to have a lot more cleanup than what is necessary. The Q-tip with the polish remover really helps to get everything out, and also it helps to get it off your skin a little better. So this is what we have here. Now on the front you can see I do have some polish that's there, and we're just going to take the Q-tip and kind of roll and rub at the same time, and it will pull it off. And see how much easier that comes off? I know a lot of times people are really struggling with the cleanup, and it's really frustrating. So I know that that turns people off. It's that and getting the design that they want. And you can do things to make it a little bit more symmetrical and look a little bit more similar. But for example, this one, even if you didn't totally like the top of that nail, oil, and you can see the process itself actually only took a minute. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do the tape one right now and go ahead and get out of the way. I'll be totally honest, I am terribly unfond of the tape method for me, but it is something that does work better for some people. I suggest you still put a little cuticle oil just around this area here, because the tape is not going to cover that. So you're going to pull off a strip of tape. I suggest you give yourself kind of extra tape, just because it's a little easier to work with when you have a little extra piece. I'm taking this piece and tearing it in half, so I have two pieces. I've noticed that this is kind of, for me, the easiest way to get it off. And see how I put it over the front like this? And this is why your oil is important, so this little area here. And I pinched this off so that the color doesn't get in there. Then you take your second piece, and you want to get it kind of close to the cuticle, as close as you can get to the cuticle. And see, now you just want to pinch that off too. And all I did was wrap it around like this. And then you're going to go ahead here, and you're going to go ahead and start with the colors. Remember what we said before, you want to try to get as much of your color in there as quickly as possible so that you have plenty of time to work with your design. It does begin to dry up quite quickly, and I'll show you a little bit about that in just a moment. Okay, so we're going to take this right here, this toothpick, and you can deliberately pinch it off all on the same side if you're trying to kind of get a look that is sort of like flowers, or you know, something that's in a similar pattern. You just want to sort of put it on there and then pull it off and see you can use any of those places. I think I'm going to go right about here and see what we get. It is a little harder to bend your finger when you have the tape on. Again, I recommend not going in too deep, and you want to clean around it before you pull it out. Rolling this is the best way to get it out. I'll show you that by itself. And you end up like this. Now this is a looser one, and this is one of the reasons I don't like taping, is you end up a lot of times with bigger patterns. And here's your other problem, getting it off. This is why I am not fond of the tape, because you kind of have to have a pair of scissors handy, and then you're fighting with it a little bit to get it off. And you pull it off, and you still have to clean this up. So I kind of feel like the oil for me is one less step. I'm trying not to go too far into the water. Yeah, that came out pretty good. I'm glad I dipped that one for you. So we're just going to clean this up again. Now, a tip, if you're going to use a lot of shimmers, you need to pick a rich color or a strong opaque to complement it, because it's going to kind of disappear into itself inside your water marbling, have a whole lot of option to know what it's going to look like sometimes. And now I'm going to show you what I was going to show you before. We're actually going to do that. I want you to just kind of notice, see how the different polishes, they spread a little differently. The color has to do with that, and the chemistry. So depending on brands, certain brands are going to separate better than others. You're going to find that certain colors will as well. See, like for example, the silver, it doesn't really separate. You can shake your bowl a little bit. See how I can make that silver big? You can do that and it will create a totally different effect. And sometimes you just can't get the drop off. It'll create a completely different effect. Now, when you're doing this, I want you to notice how this part, see how it's starting to stick to this right here, and it's pulling up and it's moving when I just don't touch the polish. It's because there is a clear film of polish and it's already drying in the water. So this happens quite quickly. When it does, you need to go into the center of the polish to make your design, and sometimes it'll be too late, like it is right now, which is what I wanted to show you. If this is happening, you're not going to get anything good, even if it's just a little bit like this. So you definitely want to recognize that early before you dip your fingers in. This will help prevent you from having to repolish your nails so frequently, to redo them. And if you notice, see how this just kind of whirls off? And you saw that clear layer come out as well. And when you're cleaning out your water before the next finger, you want to take your Q-tip and kind of really look for those pieces and get them out. I'm going to have to do some still shots on this one before I put art anywhere on any of these.